Hey guys, welcome back to your Florida electrician. Today we're going to be installing a Leviton motion sensor switch, replacing this old snap switch that has been here for a very long time. It's the only one left in the house. This house is over 100 years old. These lights are on all the time. I'd like them to shut off once in a while. So if you're not in the room, it's going to shut off. And if you enter the room, it'll go on. So these are going to be really handy. I have a few spots in the house I'd like to replace these with. One over there in the dining and one over here, and maybe one in the bathroom. So let's get to it. Now, this switch has been here forever, so I'm going to need to cut with a utility knife around the paint. This has been painted in place, so carefully cut this. Otherwise, if you don't cut it, it is just going to pull the paint off when you take that off. So let's take this off. I don't think I've ever taken this off. I've been here for 8 years or so. Always been using this snap switch. To its benefit, it's always worked with no problem. Time to change it out. Boom. Just like that. So of course we need to shut power off before we work on this or pull it out anymore. Ooh. Alright, so as you can see, these screws have all been painted over for the past who knows how many years and how many times this place has been painted, but just need to drag your screwdriver along these slots to get the paint out. Sometimes you gotta bang it a little bit, but you don't want to just break it, because then you maybe have to replace the box, and we don't want to replace the box if we don't have to. And once you get the paint out, you can usually get these things to turn. But take your time and get a little groove going. There you go. Then you can get a bite on it, take it out. You won't need these screws. The new switch comes with screws, so you shouldn't need these unless you have to put this light back, the light switch. Okay, so we've got a bite on it there. Now these snap switches, I mean, they've been very successful. If you still have some in your house and they're still working, there's no problem with continuing to use them. Alright, so it's stuck in there. So at this point, I might grab my needle nose, try to get this out a little bit. See, it wants to rip the paint. It wants to rip the paper or paint. So somebody did a repair here. So my knife again. I don't want it to rip up the wall as I take this out. It might, all that paint just might tear the wall up. I don't want to tear the wall up any more than necessary. Okay, there we go. Wow, the wires are short. Alright, as I suspected, this has only, it is no neutral. There's a white wire on there. What's that mean? You see the white wire? That means from the light box, the wire comes down, it's connected to the hot, comes down, goes through the switch, and then it's returned back on the neutral wire to feed the light. So on purpose, I bought a motion sensor that doesn't need a neutral. So basically both of these would be black because they're really hot. They're not connected to a neutral. So I'm going to take this off, but it does need a ground. So I got a pigtail. What they did is put the ground, they grounded the box. Let me see if I can get in there so you can see that. You see that? The back of the box. They did put a ground there, but we need to add more ground because the switch needs at least a ground. So it'll use the ground as a ground and a neutral. So yeah, let's pause for a second and we'll get this out of here, get this snap switch out. Sometimes a legit concern is how thick or how deep the new switches are. They take up a lot more room. But this one actually has a box that's pretty big, so look at how little space this takes. I mean, compared to this, crazy. That's how simple these switches were. Screw on top, screw in the bottom, not even a ground. Let's go ahead and take that off. And the wires are super short, of course. I can't even tell you when this was put on. I mean, it could have been put on 40 years ago for all I know, and it's still working just fine. But time for a little updating. Get rid of that. Okay. Ground, I'm going to strip a little bit of wire and make a ground jumper. And this, a little extra, sometimes there's extra drywall stuff. You just fill the box with it. I just cut it out, so I need room for my switch, not more junk on the side. I need more room. Just take a knife and cut that out of there. So it's a nice metal box. I mean, it looks pretty roomy. I do need some space for some wire nuts to connect my switch. But besides that, we should be good to go. Okay, you can see what I did here. You have the ground coming out of the existing wiring coming to the switch. I added a jumper ground because there's really nothing I can connect to before. And this is going to get pigtailed onto our switch. You can see it there. It's wrapped around at least once. So yeah, let's go ahead and wire up the switch. All right, here's our motion sensor. And if you look at the wiring on the back, you'll see it says line/load black. Down here, line/load black. Neutral, white, or ground. See how they put the white wire, they put a green sleeve over it? If you did have a neutral in there, you take that green sleeve off and you connect to the neutral. But in this case, I don't have a neutral wire. So I'm going to connect my two grounds together here. I'm going to connect these two grounds together, put it on this ground right here, and call it good. And it doesn't even matter which way, line or load, this switch doesn't care. So that's really cool. Okay, I know these wires are very short. I trimmed these back so they're only about a 1/2 inch long. Anything more than that, it's going to stick out of the wire nut. But I know these are very short. I think you're supposed to have 6 inches hanging out of the box. But this box is very small. The switch is kind of big. If I have 6 inches hanging out of here, I'm going to have a hard time squishing the wires back in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my white, my neutral, and my ground together here as it says. Connect it onto my ground and try to pick some small wire nuts for this because yeah, there's not a lot of room in the box for huge wire nuts. I may actually get a third red one. So this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one is the hot, the line side or the load side, it says. So wrap the little wire around, put this little wire nut on. Kind of user-friendly, if you ask me. Very easy. This one I'm going to use a bigger wire nut, although I'd like to find another one of these orange ones. I probably could. Yeah, let's do that. That'll give me some more room. Maybe find another orange one. Okay, got it. I have another orange one. Imagine that being an electrician. And I have a wire nut. So this, you're going to have to carefully push these back into the box. Kind of best you can. So you can get the switch back in there. Because there's not a lot of room, to be honest with you. That's why you don't want long wires. So there's 3 little wire nuts plus this switch has to go back in. So kind of get that spot in the middle where it's the deepest. And that should suffice there. Make sure you don't pinch your wires. And if there's enough in for it to go in here comfortably, which it looks like there will be, we're going to be good to go. We're going to get this screwed in. Excuse me, sneezing. don't mess up this. If you have an old box like this one, it's an old metal box. Don't screw it up, because if you do, you may have to replace the box. It's not too much work. It's just more work. So let's move this in. Oh, already something going on here. Yeah, okay, stuck on something. And it's upside down. Another blooper. I think that's... Which way is it supposed to go in? Motion on the top. See, I got it upside down. I mean, I guess if you installed it like this, it's not really designed to be this way. The motion has a certain angle where it looks at, it looks down, not up. So if I installed it like that, it's going to be kind of messed up for the angle of the motion sensor. So let's try putting it in the right way. I want the motion. On the box, it shows the motion being up. So that was a good little boo-boo. All right. Cool. Find a plate cover. I go find a plate cover. Nice. All right, now we go back, turn the breaker back on. Light should come on. Give it about 20 seconds to warm up according to the instructions. Oh, I see life. The light is blinking. Oh, see that? Lights are on. So it's connected correctly, and now you can see the sensor doing something. So let's get into the programming. Okay, so obviously this works as a switch. We can just turn the lights off, turn the lights on, like a normal switch. But we want to program it, right? So let's go ahead and get the programming done. All right, so to get into the programming mode, we need to push and hold the top and bottom. I guess there's two spots here. Top and bottom of the switch for 5 seconds. That'll get us into the programming mode. Okay, green light's on. The whole reason why we want these is we want it to do what we want it to do, right? So the programming options are setting 1, time period. That load will stay on. Red light will blink once a second if selected, okay? The next option would be sensitivity to motion. And the third setting is ambient light setting. So if it's really bright in here and you walk in the room, it may not come on because it's not needed. You don't need the light to come on if it's super bright in here. So green light will appear and stay on for 5 seconds, indicating that you have successfully entered programming mode. Okay. So what we want to do, change first, is setting 1, time period, that the light will stay on, and the options are 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, and 20 minutes. So how do we do that? We need to go ahead, let's see, green light will blink, option 1. So we need to hit the bottom here. Boop. I don't think I'm in the program mode anymore. Let's get back into programming. 1, 2, 3. So it's blinking 3 times. That means third option selected, okay? So how do we get to the next? To advance from one option to the next, press the bottom button once. Okay, so I want to get to the next option. Okay, that's my next option. So I'm on option 2. What are my options? Low 50% range, medium or high or all, setting to all default. So this is when the sensitivity. So we're going to do medium, which is the second option. So let's go ahead and press that top. All right, now the motion is actually blinking twice, which is kind of funny. The reason it's blinking twice because the top part, the motion sensor, is the settings indicator. So one blink would be settings 1, 2 blinks would be settings 2, 3 blinks would be settings 3. The options is indicated by the green light, which is a little bit confusing. So to change the settings you would push the top part of the button to cycle from setting 1, setting 2, setting 3. To change the options under each setting, you would push the bottom part of the button. So setting 1 would be a 1 blink for the red, option 1 would be 1 blink for the green. So when you get back to that chart, you will see if you wanted to change the second setting and have it set for medium, you'd wait for 2 blinks of the motion and 2 blinks of the green light. It's a little bit confusing at first, but it takes a little while. You look at these directions and it certainly will help out. So yeah, it got me confused. That's why I did the voiceover in this part. I had it kind of backwards. So alright guys, man, thanks for watching. Now let's go into test mode. We want to test when this light is going to come on and go off. The test mode, hold the top button down for 5 seconds. The red light will blink every 2 seconds. Walk around. So we can do a light test, a sensitivity test. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now we're in test mode. So if it sees me move, it's going to turn the light on. All right, so let's try that. All right, test mode. Let's see. Let's see when it sees me. When I walk in, ooh, that's good. As soon as you walk in, it turns the light on. Oh, that's good. Yep, it sees me over here. How about over here? When I'm over here, let's see if it sees me. All right, let's give it a second to reset. Oh, it sees me way over here. I'm way over here. This is good. It's kind of the far side of the kitchen, so if it sees me over here, this is going to work good. 180 degrees. Oh, that's very good. I like this. All right, so that's cool. Even walking towards it. I noticed some of these, they don't work if you walk towards them. Wow, that thing is sensitive. Wow. Oh, I like it. I like it. So let's see how far into the room I get before it sees me. Ugh. What? That's super sensitive, man. That's awesome. I love it. All right, let's get out of that mode. So now it should go off after 10 minutes. Once it doesn't notice any motion, and whenever this flashes red, that means it sees something. See, I'm not moving, so no more red. Green light is off. Green light will be on when the light goes out, so if you wanted to manually turn it on, you see where the switch is. I see it doesn't see any motion, so no red light. All right, move my hand. Wow, super sensitive. I like this. I got to give this thing a plug. Leviton Decora Plus motion sensor. So if it's super bright in here, the lights probably won't come on when you walk in, but yeah, this is handy. You can walk out, it'll shut the lights off within 10 minutes or whatever. I might even set it for 5 minutes because it sees everything, man. You can sit down at the table. Yeah, I like this. Cool. It's a good switch. If you want to disable the light or load from turning on, press and hold the bottom of the button for 5 seconds. The sensor will ignore motion, keeping the light load off. Green light will double flash every 2 seconds during this mode.
Thanks guys for watching. If you got value out of this video, please like and subscribe and share. Thank you and take care.